The video you're watching is concerning an irritation that's been bothering me for several months. That is, today I decided to try to fix, and I wanted to do it the right way because I didn't want to have to set up for a long time and just modify the way the computer works for the umpteenth time just to get rid of an annoyance that was obviously created by a large-scale corporation trying to waste my time. And if you're watching the video, you obviously know that that didn't work out the way I thought it was. I tried to play fair. Now I'm going to play my way. Going to Gmail and seeing the Google Workspace logo. Some of you might have noticed this when you check your Gmail. Some of you might have noticed that, depending on your account, this is the only time you ever see it, and you never get to interact with it or figure out why the hell it's there. And some of you, who are a little bit more perceptive maybe, have noticed that all it does is slow down how long it takes for you to load up your email if you hit refresh or just open it. And it doesn't do anything except waste your time. And that's literally what it does. That's it. So what you're seeing below all of that, starting with asterisk, excuse me, not asterisk, but exclamation point, hide Gmail's Google Workspace splash. That's something I wrote for uBlock Origin. And it attacks or blocks, depending how you look at it. I like to say attacks. The logo loading, which is this part down here that says Google Workspace is loading. And this image here, Google Workspace underscore, and then PNG, which is this logo right here. On top of that, it also blocks 3 text screen elements, message, loading, and NLPT. Now, one of those is for a link that goes somewhere to help you if you can't log in because, yes, Google Workspace, this splash screen, or interstitial as it's also called, literally just sits there and can possibly crash your computer or just make it to where you can't check your email. That became a big problem for a while. And again, as far as I can tell, it doesn't do anything other than just make it take longer to load your email. So when you try to look up the right way to do this, to fix this, they tell you to do some things. I'm going to rattle them off, but you don't have to do them. This is the only way to get rid of it. And by the way, by blocking it using uBlock Origin, it actually does load it a little faster. It won't get rid of the delay entirely because nothing says big corporation like being a petty bunch of bitches slowing down people's ability to read their damn email or get work done while calling yourself Workspace. Yeah, the hurry up and wait thing. So let's look at my text file here. There's always a text file. Up at top there is a reproduction of it. It says hide Gmail's Google Workspace splash. I just gave it a name like that when I was doing this. And in here is the 3 elements for text elements only, and then 2 elements here for the 2 images that are the most prominent used. Okay. Now you could, or read the instructions you see on the internet, including on their official pages, that tell you how to do this, how to get rid of that. And none of them have anything to do with the majority of us because we're not a bunch of corporate bozos working with Google. They'll state that you have to sign in with a 2-step verification, not 2-factor authentication, 2-step verification. And you have to use your Google Workspace accounts, which you don't have one, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this. You'd already know. Yeah. And it's a super admin email address, and it's for the admin console, a Google admin console. Sounds like you should be working at Google. Seems like it. And this is to gain power over all of the managed Google services. And they only list Cloud Identity and Google Workspace. Okay. And again, it keeps stuffing this in your face every time you log in, so you'll be curious about it. And when you look it up, you get told, yes, you have to do it. Here's the workspace.com, google.com. We're going to show that in a minute. Here's the My account I use to get into my Google account. And my Google account said nothing about Workspace. On purpose. It specifically made it to where there's no data there. And then there's admin.google.com, which is what you're supposed to go to find the company profile, account management, billing, and subscriptions. And somewhere in this mess, which nobody gives you a direct link to, is a setting that turns off Google Workspace. Except the only way you would have access to admin.google.com is if you paid them money to set up an admin account on Google for administrating a website. That's literally it. The myaccount.google.com is for normal users. Workspace.google.com is made for corporations or business entities, and I'll show it to you in a minute. When you look up knowledge, Workspace, Google, ironic, and look up admin, you find troubleshooting, can't sign into admin console, which again, if you haven't noticed it, if you try to sign in, it won't let you. It doesn't even respond. I'll get to that in a minute. If you wanted to cancel Google Workspace or cancel it, especially if you're just a Gmail user, they have instructions, and they all say go to the admin console. But you can't because you don't have one. It never gets to the straight up point of telling you that very, very critical piece of information, so you know not to waste your time because this was deliberate. This is the Google Workspace page that claims to have millions of businesses going through it. No, it's businesses. No. It's millions of accounts. And I'm going to bring up a number. I'm going to hit F3 and bring up the number 300. Each business plan, whatever it is, whether it's starter, standard, plus, or enterprise, you can set up a maximum of 300 users. Some of you who've watched my YouTube channel and heard me complain about harassment on the internet might have noticed that I mentioned the number 300 in a specific way about a specific incident. But let's go back to the top. Are there really millions of users using Google Workspace? And the answer is no, there isn't. They're lying. They're lying to their investors, they're pumping up their numbers, etc. And that's it. We don't have to look at it anymore. And the reason is that what they do is they take that number, divide it by 300, first thing. The next thing is that's an estimate. Next, they're padding that number. The next thing is, I'll just get to the point. Years and years ago, it was known under another name, like I think it was Google Business Friendly or something stupid like that. And then they named it something like Globar. I'm not kidding, some weird word. And now it's just called Google Workspace. What was all of this? Well, that was back when there was something called Google Plus. And they wanted people to set up family, business, and academic accounts, as well as accounts for your, college and school and whatever. Nobody went for it. Because what happened is the page for you to sign up for this would let you set up 300 identical accounts and create bot armies, which is exactly what fucking happened. One of those bot armies harassed me for over a year, and it had exactly 300 impersonator accounts that looked like me and went around all over the internet doing crap, and I got yelled at for it. And more importantly, the person who did it went to prison. Not for doing that to me, but for having inappropriate contact with a child. And then when this person got out on parole, because you already knew this would happen, this individual couldn't control themselves and immediately contacted me, and I forwarded their messages to the police department that was responsible for him, and this person went back to prison for another 5 fucking years. That's how obsessed this person was, running 300 accounts to harass me, and went to prison only because they got caught for doing something obviously much worse. But the fact is that I like to take a little credit that I helped this piece of shit get put in prison again, simply because this person couldn't control himself. And by the way, if you try to go to admin.google.com and it'll ask you if you want to sign in with your account, and when you click yes or click continue, it won't respond. It doesn't tell you that it doesn't work. It doesn't tell you what to do. It doesn't tell you that it even failed. It just sits there and wastes your time. Because the only reason anybody ever goes to admin.google.com, unless they're running an account, usually from their website, is to cancel Google Workspace because their boss signed them up. And they need millions of Google accounts that are running that product. Otherwise, it's garbage. Just like the last, I think, 4 different times I tried to introduce this. Again, the grandfather of this thing was only used for bot accounts, harassment, impersonation, and in one case, a person basically being a mini version of Epstein Island. And I know that because I had to be deposed and explain this to some police, and they forwarded that with the paperwork for the little bastard. And yes, he's still in prison. So let's review. If you're trying to get rid of this, the only way to do it is to go into uBlock Origin or some other product and use something a lot like this to block these individual components. That's it. That's the only thing that works. And it absolutely will speed up loading up your Gmail. And then when you see advice like this that tells you to go through Google Workspace and blah, 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 none of that has anything to do with it. The fact that this is apparently only being dumped as almost like a pop-up ad on Gmail, that's weird. And no, it has nothing to do with you or me. None of us signed up for any of this shit. It's just some garbage that's left over from something. And to block it is the only thing you can do. And again, Google Workspace, this is Sparta 300 style, was originally set up based on something where you'd set up 300 accounts for a business, maybe maximum of 300 users. And again, repeating, the admin.google.com thing isn't for you to log into, and it won't tell you that. It is profoundly infuriating because it doesn't explain to you that every time you click it, it's doing nothing. It's just sitting there avoiding telling you you're wasting your time. I have not seen this much passive-aggressive horse shit all combined into one subject, even by Google, in a very long time. The last time this happened is quite literally Google Plus when they forced it down our throat. And before that, it was when I got an account killed because I refused to monetize. Yes, Google did that too. So anyway, that's it. If you see Google Workspace on your screen, just in Gmail, you can block it. Otherwise, I don't know how to help you. The admin console or whatever you're told to do, that has nothing to do with it. Those instructions are wrong. They're given by people who don't know what they're talking about. Here's a copy of the script to get that thing blocked. And all of these instructions and all of these other pages, except just doing your normal login, will do nothing for you and waste your time, and you'll spend 3 or 4 hours driving yourself crazy. And again, Google Workspace is garbage, and originally it was only used by people who were setting up bot accounts. And that's about it. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. I hope this has been useful to you because, honestly, I would love to have had this advice when this happened to me. Bye.